Good morning, everybody. It's Monday, and I'm Sally, your proof weight loss surgery Monday blogger for today. And here is today's question. How do you feel when you see so many people so confused about so many rules? Or those who blatantly break the rules and thumb their noses at everybody else? Or those who are just in denial? And how do you approach these people or not approach dealing with these issues or addressing these issues? This is a really tough question because if you've been around as long enough, you end up observing there are many types of people in this post-surgery life. There are many types of surgery with different rules, and I wouldn't begin to speak to the rules of other people. I could hardly follow my own. But to be able to come together as a community and give support, I believe inclusive of support is honest feedback, sincerely, genuinely honest feedback, not with a finger pointed, but out of the goodness of your heart, wanting the best for that person. And maybe when you want the best for a person, you want to be able to point out if you see them going a little off somewhere or other to at least suggest they think about something a little bit differently. And I don't know that we feel that freedom to do that. I honestly don't. There have been times I've seen people over the last 2 years who started off strong, but honestly, at about 6 to 9 months, we get weary. We get super weary. And my gosh, if you're a band person who doesn't even get their band filled for so many months after surgery before they can really get going, they get a slower start. Um, but generally, when you see people that start to slide off the deep end, don't really do the work, aren't eating correctly, or um, whatever choices they're making are probably not the optimal ones. Do you have the nerve to speak to that? Rarely. When I have tried in the past to offer to help someone to look at what they're eating, to make a suggestion about carbohydrates versus this, understanding a little more about how things work than other people do. I mean, I've noticed a lot of people are young, there's young women, and they don't all cook. And if you don't cook, you really don't know a lot about food and nutrition, how to make something low fat, low calorie, low carb. It's a complicated issue. Um, and so, do you speak any kind of offering of correction to help direct that person back to if they truly, truly want to make this a success? Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it comes to bite you. Um, so you need to be very careful and count the cost and see what kind of a relationship you've really forged with this person, and approach them humbly and carefully and offer your help. If they choose no, then they choose no. How do I feel about people that thumb their noses at the rules? Well, I wouldn't say I was the best rule follower in the world in the beginning for me either, but I could not digest that meat right after RNY. It was very hard for me. I kind of went off all animal protein. It it was not a pleasant experience. And you learn when you eat something that's not working for you, you don't want to eat those things anymore, whether it's sugar, fat, or chunks of meat. And so I ended up not eating the amount of protein I should have, and I kind of finally found my way into non-animal protein sources. But even though I was eating them, I didn't talk about it because I didn't want the finger pointed and said, "Now, Sally, protein first." And I get that, but at the same time, I think there's a more balanced approach that we're not really getting from all our physicians. So I'm kind of more in another vein, which you guys already know. I do eat more meat now. I'll say flesh, animal flesh now, but I still love my legumes best of all. Um, but if I had been shamed about it, I might have fallen away. So you need to be careful how you approach people. It took me a long time to come out of the lentil closet. Um, the people who blatantly break the rules, I mean blatantly, and are ugly to people who are trying so hard to be positive and want to do the best thing and give it all you got, and the people that are snarky and dark and acerbic and you know, they can kind of bring you down. And they also can they I feel as a good girl and a quasi rule follower judged. by a lot of that attitude. But then again, at the same time, I kind of judge their attitude of F you, I'm going to eat what I want. This is my journey. I don't want to be a good girl. I want to be a bad girl. Whatever. Just just do your own thing. I don't need to speak into your life. I know you've made your choices. For people that are a little on the this side of the extreme, as long as you're content without losing your impetus. I think the hard thing is if you come into this going, I'm going to do this my way or the highway. My way, not your way, not Wendy's way, not Sally's way, not Uber loser way. I'm going to do my thing. Then I, I get that that's your choice. You make it very clear, uh, and and that's great as long as you're willing to accept the consequences of your choices, which will be stymied losing, slow losing, although those of us who give it all we got also have slow losing. I didn't lose but about 2.25 pounds overall every week for the umpty weeks I was doing that. But I still got where I was going, and I didn't lose heart all the time. But if you're a person who just says, I'm doing it my way, and I'm willing to accept the results of the my way, it's not for me to judge them. Um, I think for me it would have been disappointing, and I would have probably quit and fallen off the radar. I wanted to get where I was going, and I was in a hurry to get there, and that's just the way I operate. But there are sprinters in life. There are long distance runners. There are we're all over the map on how we approach everything we do. So I think support is wonderful on Facebook and YouTube, but I think we also need to realize there ought to be a place for honest dialogue amongst people that we're expecting support from. We ought to be able to expect some earnest input if there are some concerns and be able to address them without flying off the handle, or biting that person who's really genuinely trying to help, not being arrogant, not approaching it with a know-it-all attitude. So that's what I have to say about people that and how you speak to it or how you don't speak to it. So I wish you all well. Have a great week. Just be loving to one another and do the best you can on your own journey. Um, but definitely see something in horrific error that will pull others down, and take people down a wrong path. I think those things should be addressed by community because that's what community is about, speaking in, to something for the greater good of the community. So there. You guys have a great week. I'll see you later.